Due to every single one of you constantly shoving your requests down my throat, I had no choice but to recreate pieces from the new Netflix show Wednesday. It was absolutely dreadful. And I hope this is the worst video you've ever seen. Let's unfortunately get started. Oh, I blinked. No, I was so close. Oh, this is so hard. My eyes are watering. I've been trying to do this like 50 times. All right, let's get started. This video is sponsored by Casetify. More on them later.
What is it exactly?
It's a Snood, silly. I made it in your signature colors. And you want to know what the best part is? I have one too!
The first piece from the show we're starting with is the Snood. The Snood was made for Wednesday by Enid as a cute little birthday gift. She also created a more colorful version for herself, so I decided to create both. In terms of my taste, I prefer Wednesday Snood over Enid's, so I decided to make Enid's Snood for my friend. This was the first time I've ever heard the word Snood in my life, so after watching Wednesday, I searched up the term and it is one of the million terms for an infinity scarf, balaclava, cowl, hood, etc, etc. I wanted to get started with the Snood while flying to Virginia last weekend, but I didn't realize that I packed my crochet hook in my checked luggage. Plus, it was nighttime and I didn't want to disturb anyone on the plane, so I just decided to wait. Once I got to my destination, I started testing out how I wanted to make it. The Snood was pretty easy to figure out. In the screenshots, I could easily tell that double crochet was used, and in order to get the Snood to cross around my head, I just made a large chain and crocheted in the round. While working on it though, I realized I didn't bring enough of the black yarn to finish it with me, and for the rest of the weekend, I just paced around back and forth in my head until I went home. But I got to see my friends, so it was okay. Once I got home, I finished the Snood and was pretty satisfied to begin Enid's Snood. Unfortunately, I started working on this right after episode 2 of the series, so my hands were tired. So I took a little break and then got started with Enid's Snood. For Enid's Snood, I chose an array of different pinks. The store didn't have that many options for me to choose from and I couldn't order any online, so these are the colors that I came up with. In this photo here, you can see that there's at least 12 rows for Enid's Snood, and I chose the colors based on how light or dark the pink seemed to be. Okay, so for Enid's Snood, I got these 4 colors here. They're just different shades of pink, and I was about to just go at it randomly, but then I looked at the screenshots again, and if you can see if I can zoom in, if you can see the different shades are in a certain pattern, and some of them have 2 rows, so I decided to just look at it more carefully. This is going to be dark, this might be semi-dark, and then this will replace this replaces that, and then this is like the lightest shade. There's the dark row, and then kind of light, then super light, and then dark, light, and then there's 2 rows of this dark, 2 rows of this light, and then we transition into this dark color, and then 1 row of the light here. To get started, I first chained 180. You can choose a smaller chain if you like maybe 150, but I enjoyed 180. After chaining 180, make sure the chain is straightened and not twisted before slip stitching into the first stitch to join in the round. After, chain 2. From here on, you're going to double crochet into every single stitch until you reach the first stitch of the row. If you're making Wednesday's snood, you'll just chain 2 and start another round. But for Enid's snood, since it changes color, you're going to grab your new color, wrap it on the hook, pull it through, and then chain 1 after. Then with your new color, double crochet into the next row while weaving in your ends to the side as you go. And then you're just gonna continue working on it for 12 rows, switching the colors to use the different shades of pink. Here's a pattern that I use specifically for the color switches. After you finish the last row, chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull to secure. Then you're done. The first pieces I have here to show are the snoods. I have Enid's snood and Wednesday's snood. I'm going to put on Wednesday's first. These are probably like the easiest ones in the video to make because it's literally just double crochet in the round until it's big enough for you to twist on your head. Very simple, very easy to figure out. I'm going to show you how I put it on both. So I have it over my head and then I twist it like this. And I kind of pull at it just so it can get a bit smaller over my neck. And then I twist it one more time. And then it's there, and then to do the hood, all you have to do is bring it up and you're ready to go. Just like that. I actually like this one a lot better than Enid's, not because of all of the pink, but the specific yarn I used all the same brand. With Enid's snood, I used different brands because some of the brands at the store just didn't have certain colors that I needed, so. Here is the snood with a more Enid appropriate outfit. So I'm just gonna put it on here. Like I did before, twisting it around 3 times. It really depends, it's up to you how much you wanna twist it. And then I just put it over. This doesn't look good. We're good to go. And it's super cute. It is very Enid inspired. Some of the colors are wrong, but I think it's okay because I worked with what I could find at the moment and it's not bad. It's pretty accurate in my opinion. The one thing though, you're probably wondering, where are the tassels? Well, I didn't want to make any tassels. I was being lazy, I was pretty tired, and I just like it better without the tassels. Maybe I'll put tassels on this one since this one's for my friend since she likes pink stuff and I'm not really the biggest pink fan. Like this sweater is the most pink I have in my closet besides the How jacket that I just made. So that's why I put this on because it's the only thing that has pink. But yeah, this is Enid's snood. I kind of like this dark makeup look. It doesn't look that bad. So I might incorporate it.
We need to talk.
How the hell did you get in? Bernice! Bernice!
Bernice may or may not have received a call that her tabby cat Swifty is being held for ransom.
Before I begin, I want to make a disclaimer that this vest was originally created by Alice Morel Evans and John Alexander Skelton. I made sure to ask for permission before adding it to this video. Now, this was the most requested piece I've ever gotten, and to recreate it, I had to get to analyzing. As I always do, I looked over the screenshots I took and created a flat design to know exactly what I was going to do. Since it's a vest, I did a front and a back. In the screenshots, you can see that there's a checkered print and then a black strip in between each checkered pattern. And here, you can see that the V-neck part is being pulled slightly to the right, which made me think it was slip stitched together, although that isn't necessary. There was little to no shots of the back part of the vest, so I decided to just make a basic square that follows the same pattern as the front. Okay, so for her checkered vest, it's definitely single crochet, but I was a bit confused on why it was still so spacey, and I think the reason is because for this checkered vest they use like a 1 or 2 weight yarn. That's why it looks spacey. I'm just gonna be using weight for acrylic, so I'm trying to decide if I want to do single crochet still or to make it more accurate, do double crochet so it can look as spacey as in the show. For the sweater vest, I decided to go the slip stitch route instead of doing it all in one go to avoid tangled yarn, and made 12 different parts. 4 checkered arm panels that decrease for the armholes, 1 normal checkered panel for the back, 1 checkered panel for the middle with decreases for the v-neck, 4 black strips with 2 having decreases for the front v-neck, and 2 larger black strips for the sides of the vest. Here is the pattern I created for the vest, but I ended up changing it later. So I went ahead and got started working on the vest. I wanted to test out my plan before explaining it, so I went ahead and made 1 set of checkered squares and then measured each square, which turned out to be 3.5 by 3.5 inches. Once I finished the whole panel, I realized I made it way too long, forgetting about the fact that I was using a different yarn weight and a different crochet stitch. So I took it apart and updated my pattern, but cut out some of the squares to make it shorter on me. This is the updated pattern. I then worked on the different checkered panels, which took a relatively short amount of time, and it was a chill project, so I was relaxed and enjoyed myself. To do each of the checkered panels, I always started with a chain of 21 so that each square would be 10 stitches wide. I then double crocheted until I finished the 10th stitch, making sure to weave in any ends as I go. Then when I have to change colors, I picked up the second color and attached it by yarning over the yarn to the back of my finger and pulling it through the loop. Then yarning over the yarn that's lower than my finger, then dropping the tail of that yarn, and yarning over with the yarn attached to the ball to finish a double crochet. After, I used the new color until I reached the end of the row and chain 2 before turning my work. For this panel in particular, I'm working on the decrease panels. The decrease panels work normally until you finish the 5th square. After the 5th square, you begin to decrease on every 2 rows until there are 4 stitches remaining. Then you increase on every row right after until it reaches 10 stitches on each square. To decrease at the end of the row, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, and pull through, which makes 3 loops on your hook. Then insert your hook into the last stitch, yarn over and pull through, then pull through 3, then pull through 2, and then chain 2. For the middle v-neck part, it's exactly the same as the other checkered panels, except after the 10th square row, you'll decrease on the inner sides of every row until you reach 4 stitches. So you'll double crochet normally until you reach the last 2 stitches of the black and then decrease. And then when you start the white, automatically decrease in the first 2 stitches. I continued working on one side until it reached 4 stitches and then cut off and began finishing on the other side. For the black strips, I chained 8 and double crocheted normally for 45 rows. On the black strips that sit next to the v-neck, I decreased on one side for every other row until there were 4 stitches left. Once those panels were done, I got started with slip stitching the front together and then the back together. After that, I slip stitched the shoulders together and tried the vest on, and it seemed okay. After, I started working on the side panels, which I decided to make a chain of 16 for, and worked on it for 29 rows. After I slip stitched it onto the back and the front panel on the side, I tried it on, but I didn't enjoy how much space there was between my armpit and the side. So I took some of the slip stitching off and then crocheted a couple more rows until it fit exactly how I wanted it to. The piece that everybody has been requesting is done. Like I said earlier, this isn't my original design, but I did ask for permission and I was granted permission to do this video, so here it is. It is different from the one in the show. In the one in the show, I used single crochet, I used double crochet because I used a weight 4 yarn, and the one in the show looked like it was using like a weight 1 or 2 yarn, but I bought this yarn beforehand, so I was like, I'm just gonna do double crochet to make it look like how it does in the show. I think it looks a tad bit boxy, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I wish my shirt was long enough to make it look like you know how her shirt like falls under like that, but It's probably because I made this too long. I made it a bit longer because Jenna Ortega's short and I'm 5'6", so I thought if I did it like exactly it wouldn't fit right, but I mean it works. So yeah, I think it's cute. I think it's cute. If I were to rate this, I would rate it, I rate it a 9 out of 10. I did a good job. It looks pretty similar to the one in the show. The armholes were good. Doing the sides were good. I feel like maybe if I did the sides a bit smaller, that would have worked. But I mean, it works now. But I'm saying I would have liked it more if this side block was a lot smaller. But besides all that, it looks really cute. I'm definitely gonna be wearing this. Like all of the creations in this video, I'm gonna I kind of tune them a bit so that I would want to wear it, not just make it and then shove it in the back of the closet. Everything I make, I want to make it so I can actually wear it for something. And I really like this. It's very, I like sweater vests and stuff, so yeah. To showcase Wednesday's vest, here is her doing her everyday activities. This is Wednesday opening the fridge. This is Wednesday eating some pineapple. This is Wednesday walking down the hallway mysteriously. And this is Wednesday texting Enid for the first time on her new phone. Oh no, I dropped my phone. Good thing it had a Casetify case on it. Casetify is the world's most popular tech accessory, which provides the ultimate protection for your phone while making sure you don't have to give up having a cute case design in the process. You can get a variety of different cases and designs, which are created by exclusive partnered artists worldwide, giving you an incredibly broad amount of options for your phone case. I've been using this Tata case for a couple of years now, so I was pretty excited to switch it up to a more minimum approach with my new Casetify case. I also got a couple for my boyfriend's phone. I also had to get a phone charm because for a while now, for some reason, I thought I could only get them if I had an Android phone, but this proved me wrong and I was incredibly excited. I also dropped my phone at an alarming rate, so this phone charm and this cute phone strap will help me save my phone as well as a protective phone case. Here is a clip of Wednesday doing a drop test to see just how durable her new phone case is. 3. Oh wait, character. 3, 2, 1. Come look at the damage. As you can see, it is perfectly fine.
Oh no, there might be a little crack right there.
There's no crack.
Oh.
See, perfectly fine. We're gonna do it one more time on the third step.
No. My poor phone.
3.
I'm scared, y'all.
2, 1. As you can see, perfectly fine. We're gonna do it for a third time.
Mija, I didn't sign up for this.
My name is Wednesday.
That's too far.
Fine. 3, 2, 1. As you can see.
Okay, that's enough.
As good as new. If you're in the mood for a protective and stylish phone case, you can use the link here or in the description box to get 15% off your order. Thank you again to Casetify for sponsoring this video.
Here, I brought you a gift.
That's so sweet. You didn't have to get me anything.
The next piece I wanted to recreate was Enid's leg warmers. I couldn't get the best screenshots of them and they're very subtle in the show, but I saw one of the photos the actress Emma posted on her Instagram and knew they were doable. Because the leg warmers seemed to be a mixed yarn, I chose one that seemed closest to the colors. I began making the leg warmers the same day I started the Snood, but the first attempt at them ended up with a very large result, so I took it apart and wanted to make a smaller cast on, but then I realized that I didn't bring my small needles with me, so unfortunately I had to wait until my trip was over. When I got home though, I got right back to it. Enid's leg warmers were an interesting pattern. It wasn't a normal rib stitch that I was used to, which made me a tiny bit confused when looking at how spaced out the stitches were, until I decided on a knit 2 purl 1 pattern, which reminded me of Spirited Away. For the leg warmers, I did a long tail cast on of 30. I made sure I was able to do an even amount of knit 2 purl 1, which is a set of 3. So I chose a cast on that was divisible by 3, which is 30. And then I cast it on with an extra stitch to join it in the round. Joining it in the round was a bit complicated because the cast on of 30 was smaller than my cord, and apparently this was the smallest cord size, but after a couple of rows I was able to knit normally without struggling for a total of 70 rows. While working on the leg warmers, I watched the Robert Downey documentary and began watching the show Firefly Lane, which I'm really enjoying.
Are you coming or not?
I'm sorry. I can't.
I also got excited about the leg warmers because of how easy and quick they were to make. Do not be surprised when I have 80 pairs of leg warmers in my closet all of a sudden. Okay, so I just finished both of the leg warmers. I used one skein for each. There's a lot left over, but I still wanted to start over just so the pattern would be kind of similar, even though they're not. This was the first one I did, this was the second one I did. If you can tell, they are different sizes. They are both done with 70 rows. Maybe I miscounted, but this one is also softer than this one. And it seems like this one's a bit smaller than this one, like my tension was different. I was knitting a bit more looser and with less tension with this one because my hand is hurting, but I think it'll still be okay despite the small little difference here. Alright, so because of my camera angle I can't really show these on, but I'm gonna have like a little clip over here of me wearing them, so I'm gonna scoot over so you can see the clip. But these are Enid's leg warmers. They're very easy to miss, but if you especially look in the clips where she's in the elevator with Wednesday or when she's with her family at that camp, then you can tell that she's wearing these leg warmers. These were super easy to do. The only thing is like my needles were a bit long to do these in the round, but apparently that's the shortest cable for circular needles, so it was a bit of a struggle to start it initially, but they came out really cute and it got easier to work the more that I did it. But yeah, they're leg warmers. These are my first pair of leg warmers I've ever done. I just worked in the round and did the rib stitch and then turned them inside out so it can look more like the one in the show. But yeah, I'm gonna make a ton of leg warmers and I'll probably have a video of some sort working on them.
I didn't mean to startle you.
I was just working on my novel.
For the last piece of this episode, I decided to recreate Wednesday's knit vest she wears when her uncle visits. I've never knit a sweater vest before, so I decided on leaving the hardest piece for last. I looked at the screenshots and came up with a flat pattern for me to go by. The knit vest had the same elements as the crochet vest: a v-neck, 2 armholes that decrease and increase back to its normal size, and a front and a back panel. The only difference is that this vest had ribbing on the bottom, the arm cuffs, and the v-neck. Looking at the screenshots, I decided to do 20 stitches for each block of color, which makes for a total of 80 stitches for each row. Why? Because it looked like 20 stitches. I sort of counted the stitches as much as I could, and it totaled up to 20 stitches for each for 27 to 28 rows before switching colors. So to get started, I first did a long tail cast on of 80 stitches with weight 4 yarn. I usually make the ribbing with the same yarn, but I was scared I was going to run out of the yarn for the main part of the vest, so I used a weight 4 for the ribbing and a weight 5 yarn yarn for the rest of the vest. Also, my needles don't have a size written on it, so I suppose I used a 5.5mm needle. After doing 15 rows for the ribbing with knit 1 purl 1, I switched my needle size to maybe a 6 or a 7mm, and then I did 20 stitches of my weight 5 black yarn, and then switched to a white yarn and did 20 stitches, then again with the black, and then again with the white, making a total of 4 squares per section. I used stockinette stitch for the entirety of the project besides the ribbing. Okay, so far I have this for the front panel. I'm gonna try and finish this tonight because I want to get this video out as soon as possible. It's going good so far. I'm scared I'm gonna run out of yarn, but we'll deal with that when we get there. After these set of squares, I'm gonna start doing the decreases on the side for the armholes, as well as the v-neck decreases in the middle for the v-neck part. But I am on my lunch break, so I have my food here, which is a nice little salad with random vegetables, mainly just tomatoes and cucumber, with vinegar, 2 scoops of roasted red pepper hummus, some tortilla crisps on top, and a movie. I took a break to eat my salad and watch Knives Out. I watched this movie in 2019, but I fell asleep the second the movie started in the theaters due to staying up all day prior. After my break, I got back to work, and on the third set of squares, I began my decreases. Here is a little graph of what exactly I did. On the third set of squares, I decreased on both outer parts of the panel for the arms, as well as both inner parts for the v-neck. I did 5 rows of decreases on the arm sections only on the knit rows. After, I knit and purled regularly on the arm sections, but continued to decrease on the v-neck section on every third row. I stopped decreasing when there was 7 stitches left on the v-neck part. Once the fourth square section began, I increased on every knit row on the arm sections until it reached 20 stitches again. To do a left-leaning decrease, which is called knit 2 together, all I did was insert my needle into 2 stitches at a time and then knit it normally. To do a right-leaning decrease, which is called a slip-slip knit, I slipped 2 stitches onto my right needle and then inserted my left needle into those stitches and then knit it normally. The one thing I didn't enjoy about this vest was how quick everything got tangled. I wanted to speed run making the vest, but because the yarn kept tangling up, I constantly had to stop and untwist them from each other. But eventually, I finished the front panel. I was scared the v-neck was too deep, but I knew that once I added the ribbing to it, it would look so much better. I decided to call it a night and finish the back panel the next day. I started the day off with a nice walk, and then unfortunately got a bit lazy. Hi. Okay, so I finished the first part of the sweater vest at like 5 a.m. yesterday, and right now it's noon the next day, and I'm about to start the second panel for the sweater vest. But I'm really tired, but I'm trying not to go to sleep because I'm going out of town next week, so I literally don't have any other time to finish this video until like now. But I'm just being so lazy. I just want to go to sleep, and I was about to sleep, but then my mom called me and I was like, I think this is a sign for me to wake up. So I'm trying to get myself to start working with these bad boys and finish the panel so we can be done. Eventually though, I pushed myself up and got to work on the back panel, starting with the bottom ribbing. I did a lot of the back panel off camera just because I was being incredibly lazy and tired and just blah. But I watched Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 with my boyfriend, ate some macaroni and cheese, and then a salad, and then eventually gave up for the day. The next day, I was like, okay, you have to finish this. You can't let laziness get to you. Although I know it wasn't laziness, it was just me being really tired, but I told myself that I can rest when it's finished. So I got back to work the next morning while rewatching old Berlizzi videos until it was time to shape the back neckline. Okay, so we're reaching the end of the sweater. I was thinking if I should do decreases, to make like the little shoulder area or just keep it like flat, but I kind of want to do a couple of decreases just for the heck of it, I guess. So I have 80 stitches in total. I divided it by 3 and then I got 26, so I'm gonna do 20, I think 26. I got 26, so I'm gonna knit 26 and then I'm gonna cast off 28 and then knit 26 again, and then on the next side I'm gonna decrease over here and decrease over there, and I'm just gonna do that for 3 rows so that it can be a little decreased without it getting bigger than the front panel. For the neckline, I knit 26 stitches and then casted off 28 stitches and then knit the rest of the 26 stitches remaining on the other side. I then decreased on the inner side of each shoulder on the knit row for 6 rows. This was just a random set of numbers I came up with, and thankfully it worked out for someone who is absolutely rotten at math. But what do you know? You get better at things if you just try. I eventually finished the back panels and sewed the shoulders and the sides together so that I'd be able to try it on. Okay, so the V-neck seems like it's pretty deep, but we're gonna go ahead and add the ribbing to the arms and the V-neck, and I think it's gonna get up to like right here, and then it'll be good to go. Yay. I then began to do the arm ribbing sections, which all I did was attach the yarn by knitting into every stitch and then join them in the round and worked knit 3 purl 1 stitches for 9 rows. This was more accurate to the photos, but I could have just did regular knit 1 purl 1 like I did for the bottom ribbing. Lastly, I got to work on the V-neck ribbing, which scared me, but I thought it would be easy if I just worked it in the round like I did for the arm ribbing. So my technique for going in the round wasn't working because of the color changes, so I decided to do one side at a time. So I just finished the black side off camera where it goes all the way to the V part of the V-neck and then all the way to the back, and now I'm going to attach the white here, and then after that I'm gonna kind of like sew it together so that it kind of connects on both sides, and hopefully that looks right because I really don't feel like redoing this. Okay, I did it off camera because it's literally the same exact method that I did these, except I did knit 1 purl 1 instead of knit 3 purl 1. And so you can kind of see the little gap here and the gap here, but I'm just gonna essentially sew it together on both ends so that it'll be connected. After I finished both sections of the V-neck ribbing, I took the time to sew the open parts together and then I was done, besides all of the weaving and I had to do later. Overall, it was a solid project that I'll definitely repeat in the future. Last but not least, here is the knit sweater vest that Wednesday wears. This was probably the hardest one that I had to make so far in this video, mainly because I've never made a knit sweater vest before, and there's some issues with it, I have for sure. If I were to rate this though, I would give it an 8 out of 10, mainly because usually when I do stuff like in the round, from the sweaters that I have experience with making in knit, I tend to skip stitches to make the ribbing look better, and for some reason I didn't do that for the sleeves, so it looks like kind of like, I'm gonna come closer. It looks kind of like this, you know, and I don't really like that. I don't know why I didn't skip any stitches, but besides that, everything else was okay. I didn't do the bottom ribbing or the top V-neck ribbing correct, like in the photos. I did these parts correct, like if you can see, it's like 3 knit 1 purl, but for these I just did knit 1 knit purl, or knit 1 purl 1. Here's what the back looks like. It looks good. I like it. I'm gonna definitely wear it. It's great for the winter time coming up. It's thin, but that gives me the option to do a whole bunch of layering. But yeah, I think I did a good job. This whole time this neckline wasn't good, but there you go. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun doing this, and the fact that I did it in a week honestly blows my mind. But I am gonna take a break because I did this right after episode 2. And I'm kind of tired, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.